Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to it's the Comedy Podcast, and this is your most with the host, Rick Shurdan. We've got an absolutely exciting episode of the Comedy Podcast for you today. I've been talking about it for weeks. It's finally happening
in this episode.
Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan. Gonna sit down with myself and discuss comedy. You don't want to miss that. That's coming up, so keep listening. Right now, though, I just have to apologize. It's been a long time between episodes, and that's because I recently fell into some pretty unexpected acting work. If you guys are Rick Shurdan fans, you've probably already seen it, but just in case you haven't, let me just say it was
totally unlike anything like I had ever done before, like in terms of like acting and like stuff.
But when opportunity knocks, or I should say rings, sometimes you just gotta answer. Hello?
Rick, we lost you.
Oh, yeah, sorry about that. I dropped my phone in a bowl of goldfish.
Oh, no.
Thank God it didn't have any water in it. So what did you guys want me to do again?
Well, Rick, you would appear in every single episode, sort of as a talking head shot. We would cut back and forth to you, and you would offer your expert forensic opinion on these various homicide cases from recent history.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, here's the thing. I'm really flattered, but I'm not a detective.
Yes, we know.
I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yes, we know.
I don't even know what the word forensic means, let alone how to spell it.
Yes, we know, but you wouldn't have to spell it. It would already be spelled for you.
Oh.
It would just appear every time you're on screen at the bottom, Rick Shurdan, forensic investigator.
Well, okay, I just gotta ask, why wouldn't you guys, use a forensic investigator?
Well, Rick, we really like, what you offer, Rick.
Yeah.
Rick, what you could bring to the table.
Yeah.
One second, Rick.
All right.
Rick's as thick as a bleeding brick. What should I tell him?
Tell him the truth.
Budget, Rick. That's why. Budget.
Oh, there's a budget?
Yes, there is. 1 second, Rick. Cat's out of the bag now. What should I say?
Offer him 50.
We would be prepared to offer you £50 for appearing in the entire series.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, jolly good.
Oh, I would have done it just for the exposure.
Oh.
I just wanted you guys to know ahead of time, I am so not a detective.
Yes, we know.
Just in case I was in front of the camera going, what does DNA stand for?
Right.
Or how do you know somebody even has fingerprints?
So we'll be in touch
I played the game Clue, but is that the same as a clue?
Well, we'll let you know about...
Why do they call it Cluedo in English?
Must run now.
Same game, different name.
Goodbye, Rick.
Is that
Hanging up.
So I learned an awful lot about myself working on the show Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses. But the most important thing I learned was that I'm actually a natural talent when it comes to forensic investigation. I know because the producers were so happy. After all the tapings, one of them came up to me and said that I had the gift of what the French stand-up comics call sarcasme. Is he right? Is he wrong? You guys be the judge and have a little listen to my newly updated
Audition reel.
Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses with Rick Shurdan. As a forensic investigator, when it comes to Ed Gein, I'm always wondering, did the clothing stores in Wisconsin not have what he was looking for, and is that why he made a vest of human skin? I don't know, just ask him. Did you like that? Here's another. Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses with Rick Shurdan. I'll be honest, being a forensic investigator can sometimes be a little depressing. But whenever I get down, I just remind myself, hey, at least you're not a female hitchhiker in the 1970s being picked up by Ted Bundy.
There, but for the grace of odd, go on.
I put that last bit in. Here's another. Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses with Rick Shurdan.
Rick Shurdan.
I'm sure there are lots of clowns that parents would love to hire for their children's birthday party. But knowing what we know now about this case, I don't think somebody like John Wayne Gacy would be anybody's first choice. Duh. Here's my favorite. Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses
With Rick Shurdan.
Over the years, I've worked with lots of different people in forensic science, and not a single one of them ever tore out their mother's larynx and used her head as a dartboard. Maybe that's because none of them were Edmund Kemper? I don't know, just saying. And just one more.
Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses with Rick Shurdan.
Look, we've all had problems with neighbors, but in the 1980s, if you lived in a place called Gloucester, England, you might not want to borrow a cup of sugar from Fred and Rosemary West.
Oh my gosh!
Word to the wise! Oh, I forgot about this one.
Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses with Rick Shurdan.
All of Dennis Nilsen's hopes of staying free and killing again went down the drain the day the cops discovered
Human remains.
a hip to the hop when the pipes get stopped. Anyway, speaking of cold corpses, got a bit of bad news on the old social media today. The comedy community has lost one of its own. It's never easy when anybody dies, but when a comedian dies, it's really tragic. Because not only is our work so important to so many people, but also because comedians really look after their own. Comedians are like a tight-knit, close-knit, tough-knit family, so that when one of us does die, it really is like losing a thread. I mean a leg. What did I say, family? It's like losing a brother, or even an aunt. Aunt. Right now, I'm walking down the Comedy Podcast Hall of Remembrance, a place covered in portraits of comedians who are no longer with us. They may no longer be with us, but they're still with us, in our hearts and in our careers. Comedians like the lovely Linda Smith.
What are the World Bank going to do? Repossess Africa?
Screamin' Sam Kinison.
There wouldn't be world hunger if you people would live where the food is!
And now this guy, Will Franken.
What's the matter, Rick?
Are you sure that isn't Franklin?
No, we checked it out earlier. It is Franken.
Okay. Let's do this. Let's just keep recording straight on through with this, but can I have a little bit more echo on my voice, please?
Will do.
Excelente, excelente. All right, guys, here we go again. A 1, 2, a 1, 2, 3, 5. Over the bank holiday weekend, Will Franken hung himself in a place called Folkestone in the county of Kent in southern England. Little is known about Will Franken's career. In fact, some comedians say he never existed at all. You won't see him on any box sets. He never played the Comedy Store, and by the end, he was lucky to be offered 1 gig a month. Oh, wait.
What's the matter, Rick?
Now I know who this guy is.
Really?
Yeah, because he used to do shows in California, and I was always like, okay, whatever. But then I heard he moved to England, and I was like, what, England? Like, why England? Like, England? What, England, right? But then I heard he was doing really well in England, so then I'm thinking, like,
Okay, England, yeah, maybe England, possibly England, yeah,
And then not long after that, I found myself on a plane heading for England. And the rest,
England,
as they say,
England,
Is history.
from America to England. And now we go from the Comedy Podcast Hall of Remembrance to the Comedy Podcast Hall of Comedian Computers to find out what the comedy community is saying about
Today's tragic news.
First up out of the grieving gate is yours truly, Rick Shurdan, who writes on Twitter this morning, not sure if I knew this guy Will Franklin or not, but he did call himself a comedian, and in today's social media age, that's not an easy thing to do.
Hashtag Rick Shurdan.
Interesting thoughts there from myself. I'm sure we'll hear more of those later on when I sit down with me,
Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan and talk comedy.
but moving on. Also on Twitter today, satirical account Titiana McGrath.
Right.
Will Franken was an amazingly talented performer who will sorely be missed. Not.
But this is where it gets confusing because you're not supposed to believe her. So was he an amazingly talented performer who would sorely be missed? I don't know. So confusing. I have such a confused look right now on my face. Look is where you'll find funny lady Meryl O'Rourke writing, "We never really saw eye to eye.
In fact, we never saw each other at all. Did he even gig? Will Franken was a breath of fresh air, and that could be a bit much sometimes. Comedy thrives on staleness, and the always refreshing Will has finally found that in the grave. R.I.P. bitches. What a loss, motherfuckers.
Thoughts and prayers, Pornhub, a true legend Tinder." Sad words there from the creator of the hit show Vanilla, a cautionary and comedic tale about the influence of pornography on younger generations. Anti-woke snowflake melter and trigger warning triggerer Leo Curse writes on 4chan today.
I can never repay well for all that I learned from him. And now that he's dead, that's actually true.
And we're just getting word right now here at the Comedy Podcast Hall of Comedian Computers that apparently this guy Will Franken was more important than he was. Because right now the TV, remember that old thing, the TV? Well, they're taking another look at this guy. So let's take a look at them.
Our husbands and wives. Covering fire.
Welcome back. From St. John the Baptist to Vincent van Gogh. Tonight, as part of our ongoing series, People Should Have Paid Attention To When They Were Still Living, we look at the life and work of comedian Will Franken. I'm joined now by Dr. Peggy Foxhound, Chief Advisor for the online political forum Begin Our New Democracy, or BOND. She is also Brexit Party liaison to UKIP, in addition to being a licensed libertarian stuntwoman and editor of Think Tank, an adventure magazine for adolescent girls involved in the rough and tumble of adult male parliamentary politics. Peggy, this has nothing at all to do with politics. So for the last time, could you please stand up and let him sit down?
Sorry.
Thank you, and don't let it happen again.
Sorry.
Right, I'm joined now by Dr. Walter Bouzet, Society and Fashion Analyst for Fluffy, the cutest, cuddliest media watchdog you ever did see. Walter, would it be fair to say that the media completely overlooked Will Franken? And in that sense, aren't we in some way culpable for whatever cultural ramifications may follow from this, be it 10, 20, 50, even hundreds of years from now?
Oh, definitely. We are such Philistines. If you're okay with this, I guess it's fine. But when you work with a media watchdog like Fluffy here, it's not just about stopping people from seeing certain things. It's also about encouraging certain things to be seen.
Like Will Franken.
Yes.
Well, it seems these celebrities would agree with you. If you look online today...
Oh, definitely. And to illustrate this, just this morning, 20 minutes after it was announced that Will Franken had committed himself to suicide, Russell Brand goes on Twitter and tweets, I met him, 1,200 times.
Wow.
He met him 4 years ago, one time. But 20 minutes after announcing the death, 1,200 tweets, one for every second of every minute of 20 minutes, which means he had to have started tweeting the moment the death was announced, makes you wonder.
No. You don't suspect Russell Brand played a part?
I don't know, but I do know this. Matt Lucas from Little Britain went one step further.
Okay.
1 hour ago, he got a tattoo on top of his little bald head that reads, "Once I pitched a show with Will Franken to Channel 4 and it was rejected. I did not speak to him for years until I congratulated him on social media for wearing a wig and calling himself Sarah."
Well, I guess Matt Lucas won't be wearing a wig anytime soon to make sure everyone gets the message. But I want to focus right now on...
No, probably not. Now, not to be undone, Eddie Izzard just now posted on Instagram a picture of an elaborate pink crystal that, according to him, if you meditate upon it for 2 hours, you will hear the following message.
I remember crashing his show at the Fringe and later telling him he couldn't use any photos of me on his stage because that's the kind of relationship we had. He was very down to earth while I was up in the stars, up in the stars, up in the stars.
Charity.
Oh, Fluffy hates him.
That is such a lovely crystal. Very hypnotic. Now, right now, I want to focus on focus.
Okay.
How much of what the media focuses on should be the focus for the media? For instance, late last year, early this year, when everything was becoming, in the words of some critics, so fucking political. Thank you very much, Peggy. Sorry. We gave a lot of airtime to this loser.
It's not about comedy, it's about ordinary people up and down the country, and here in Britain and in America, feeling like they can't say what they think.
I want to ask you first, you have got a show, it's got this great title, All Well That Ends Well. What are the themes of this show?
Well, it speaks for itself, doesn't it? It's really very much about the contract that I turned down, which I'm using as an opportunity to look more broadly at what the situation is with free speech in this country today.
And this is what he does with his free speech.
You're Russian, you must be enjoying the cold. And I was like, yeah, I mean, you're British, you must be enjoying the train cancellations.
Now, this was clearly a diversion from focusing on actual talent.
Yes.
And Walter, would you agree with me that we in the media are responsible for this atrocity?
Yeah. Do you know what? I interviewed that little guy today about Will Franken. What's this? Do you know Will Franken?
Of course, he was very, very funny, very original, very unique, very funny. He will be missed. He was very, very funny.
Did you tell him this when he was still alive?
Of course, yes, all the time I would tell him how funny he was. Because he was very funny. He was very, very, very funny, very original, and very, very funny.
Sounds like you found him to be very funny.
Of course.
So you must have booked him to perform on your comedy night.
Of course. He would play in my club all the time. He was a regular, because as a booker, that's all that matters, is whether they are funny. And because funny is funny.
Funny is funny. But I wonder how funny you will find this. Listen.
And as a business person, I wouldn't book Will. Sure. I'll be honest, right? Because what's going to happen
you're afraid,
is... You're asking about booking. I haven't had that experience, but personally, if I booked an act that I knew was controversial...
Which you won't.
Right.
That's you and Will Franken on a panel 1 month before you suddenly turn into a revolutionaria. Care to change your story now, comrade?
Orwell. Snowflake. Space safe.
I don't believe it. He turned into a frog and hopped away.
He turned into a frog and hopped away. It's like when Osama bin Laden said the American soldier is like a paper tiger, but instead of a paper tiger, it's a real frog.
He turned into a frog and hopped away?
He turned into a frog and hopped away.
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 I'm with the dog on this. Who cares about a stupid frog? A man is dead. Actually, who cares about that too? Because this is not Will Franken's podcast. It's Rick Shurdan's. And
I know what you guys
are here to hear.
Rick Shurdan.
But first, we gotta say
goodbye
to the Comedy Podcast Hall of Comedian Computers and say hello to the Comedy Podcast Hall of Mirrors. And now, the moment you've all been waiting for.
Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan.
Hall of Mirrors.
Here at the Comedy Podcast Hall of Mirrors, I've interviewed lots of comedians over the years, including, in fact, all of them, me. So obviously I thought, what better place to finally sit down with myself again and talk about me, and comedy. Now, it's been a while since I've seen myself, so I may need a little coaxing, because even though I'm on stage a lot, sometimes I can still be a little microphone shy. But I learned this trick a long time ago in Santa Cruz that always seems to take me out of myself. Split right down the cosmic middle. Good to see you again, Rick. You too, me. So, Rick, let's get started with your first question. Okay. Who, how? Oh, God, this is more intense than I remembered. I know. When did I first realize you were funny? When did you first realize you were funny?
Yeah, or you.
Oh, probably when I was a little kid, making everybody laugh at the dinner table. Of course.
Eat all your rocket, Ricky.
Why do they call dinner dinner?
He's so inquisitive.
What's inquisitive?
Better watch out, honey. Looks like our boy's gonna be a stand-up comedian one day.
What's a stand-up comedian?
Good answer. Okay, all right. Okay, your next question to me is, oh my God, it's gonna blow our heads right open, man. Just ask it. Okay. How do I know
If something is funny.
Oh God.
I don't know.
You just do.
All right. Now, Rick, listen to you. Listen, we're gonna do one more of these, and then we're gonna take a break and come together as one, just for a few minutes, okay? Yeah. All right. So can you hang in there just for a little bit? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. Now listen to me, Rick. Listen very carefully. What advice? What advice would you give to comedians who are just starting out? Oh God. I would tell them to go hang themselves. What? You heard me. Wait a second. Wait. Stop. What's going on? I would never say anything like that. I would never tell newer comedians to hang themselves. Maybe that's your problem. What problem? I would never tell any comedian to hang themselves. No, you wouldn't. And you didn't. Because you're not me. Well, who are you? Me. And what have you done with Rick Shurdan? What's happened to me? Where am I? Have you forgotten, Rick? We're in your hall of mirrors.
Mirrors. Hall of mirrors. That's right. Okay.
So you look like me, but you're not me.
Of course I'm not you.
We never laughed around the dinner table when I was growing up. Not in the Franken household. What? Franklin. Not Will Franklin. Franken. But you're supposed to be dead. I'm not supposed to be anything. Unlike you industry types. But if you're not dead, why do you look like you just came out of a grave? I haven't had a gig in a while, so I've not been washing much. Good boy. Everybody's saying you hung yourself this morning. Mm-hmm. So what's the dealio? No, Rick, I didn't hang myself. That's not my fate. It's yours. What do you mean? Are you familiar at all with the work of a comedian by the name of Bill Hicks? Oh, Bill Hicks, absolutely. He was so funny, but he also told the truth. And in my opinion, I think he died way too early. Of course you do. And I'd be willing to wager that you're also in possession of an equally extensive knowledge about the career of Sarah Silverman. Oh, Sarah Silverman, absolutely. She tells the truth, but she's also so funny. Kind of like a female, what's that guy's name? Bill Hicks? In my opinion, when she dies, it'll be way too early. I'm Shurdan you're right, Rick. And yet, despite your impressive comedic pedigree, I'd be very surprised to hear that you had ever heard the name Hipponics.
Hydroponics?
Hipponics of Ephesus.
Oh.
An ancient iambic poet whose satires were reputedly so scathing that the victims of his unforgiving wit were so consumed by shame they had no other recourse to honor but to hang themselves.
Wow.
You don't need to worry about me, Rick.
Good.
I'm not here to hang myself.
Good.
I'm here to hang others.
What?
Starting with you.
Okay, a little bit more information than I needed. Listen, Will, this has been so much fun. So glad you're not dead because it would have been way too early. But right now, I'm going to be coming back from break soon here at the Comedy Podcast.
Hall of Mirrors, Hall of Mirrors.
Hall of Mirrors, Hall of Mirrors.
For part 2 of Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan on Rick Shurdan.
There you go again, Rick, hiding behind your sound effects.
What's wrong with sound effects?
Nothing if there's any rhyme or reason, but this.
Hey,
And this.
wait,
And this.
come on. It's nothing more than your
Basic run-of-the-mill
Peyote track.
peyote track.
Aren't you capable of anything more expansive?
Ooh.
Something that goes beyond the deadening limitations of your endless self-reflection?
Well, like what?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe something like the windswept deserts of the American Wild West. Wow, there's a lot more room out here. Oh, yeah. Wow. And you can really hear yourself think. Or in your case, you can hear yourself.
Yeah. Echo! Echo!
Listen!
Echo!
Somebody else is out here! Cut it out, Rick. Sorry. Wow, Will, you can almost see it. Yep. It's got everything. Yeah. Buzzards circling overhead. Wow. Rattlesnakes below. Ooh. And not too far off in the distance, a makeshift vigilante gallows. Gallows? Like gallows humor. Exactly. Like gallows humor.
Cool.
Let's take a walk, Rick.
Okay. So, okay, Will, so I hate to keep bringing this up, but I still don't understand. Why is the comedy community saying you killed yourself?
Because I went off social media.
Ooh.
And everybody came to their own conclusions.
Right.
The right-wing comics said I lost all hope after the censorship of the left-wing comics.
Right.
And the left-wing comics said I was driven to despair by the opportunism of the right-wing comics.
Left.
Apparently it never occurred to either side that I might have killed myself out of boredom.
What?
Well, they may have differed as to my motives, but for some strange reason they all agreed that shortly after 11 a.m. on Bank Holiday Monday, I hung myself. But like most comedians working today, their timing was off. Today is Bank Holiday Monday, and it's just gone 11. After you, Rick.
Oh, thanks, Will. Wow, you can see so much more from up here.
That's right. And you'll be seeing a lot more than this in just a few moments.
And there's an audience.
Didn't you know, Rick? You're a mighty big draw around these parts.
Am I really?
Yep.
That is so awesome. Hey, what's up, guys? Thank you so much for coming down today. It is so good to be here in the Wild West. You know, I just came here from England.
What the hell are you doing in England?
Well, I do comedy in England. And I just came...
What in tarnation do you know about English comedy?
Wouldn't know the difference between a Dane cook and a Peter cook.
Probably thinks Monty Python's a British snake.
Right. But I'm originally from Los Angeles.
That's it. Hang 'em.
Hang 'em.
What am I doing wrong, Will? It's not that kind of show, Rick.
It's not?
No.
What kind of show is it? What kind of shit?
Yes?
Sorry, the rope keeps getting in my mouth. What kind of...
Oh, we don't want that to happen. It's not supposed to go around your mouth.
Where is it supposed to go?
Where do you think it's supposed to go? This is a nose, isn't it? A noose. And it's supposed to go around your neck.
That's right.
Just like this. How's that? Not too loose?
No, it's just right. Tight. But by the way, real quickly, Will, I just want to say thank you. I'm so glad you finally had a chance to join me here on the comedy podcast because I've always been a huge fan.
Thank you.
Let me just ask real quickly.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about these wings that were left and right.
Yes.
Does this have anything to do with politics? Because I'm really
For fuck's sake, weren't you even listening? This has nothing at all to do with politics.
Sorry.
You're just one of many black holes of blandness blocking the entrance of creative light into the universe.
That's right, yeah.
It's nothing personal, and it's definitely nothing political.
Good answer, good answer. Now, freedom of speech, do you think...
To say what?
Huh?
You see, Rick, before there was woke comedy and anti-woke comedy, and even before there was stand-up comedy, there was satire.
Satire. Yeah, I've been hearing that word a lot lately because a lot of comedians are using it right now.
Yes, and they don't know what it means either.
I'm so confused right now, Will.
I know you are, Rick. I know you have no intelligence.
No.
So prove to this audience that you at least have some shred of morality and give them what they want.
What?
Take yourself out of the comedy picture.
Let me have a think on that. Meanwhile, I wanted to ask you...
Time's a wasting, Rick.
I know, but real quickly, does this have anything to do with career frustration?
No.
Because if you're just patient, what's that thing they always say? Cream always rises to the top.
And scum always floats to the surface. Now, come on, stand right here.
Don't I get any last words?
You just said them.
Well, we sure can't thank you enough, Will. That was one of the funniest doggone hangings we've seen in this town in 50 years.
Thank you kindly, Sheriff. So what about him? What'd you decide? Gonna cut him down?
Oh, I reckon we'll keep him up for a few more days.
Good boy.
Make him an example to others.
Good idea.
I tell you, this boy could have made a mighty fine desktop support engineer, but he just chose a wrong path.
That he did.
So what you thinking, Will? You gonna stay around town tonight? Maybe headline the saloon?
I appreciate the offer, Sheriff, but I gotta keep moving. My work here is done.
But this is where the great Will Franken is wrong. Because Rick Shurdan is not a person.
But a force. One that doesn't stay disembodied for long.
Congratulations, it's a boy. Or a girl. Whatever floats your boat.
And even though it may re-enter life with a new name,
Welcome to the world, Kyle Cheston.
the underlying substance remains the same. Aww. What's he grinning about, honey?
I wish I knew. Oh, Kyle, what's going on in your little head?
Comedy podcast.
Modern technology will help give it form.
Now eat all your goulash, Kyle. Make Daddy proud.
I don't want goulash.
Kyle.
I don't want to eat.
Kyle.
I don't want to play. I don't want to fork. I don't want gluten. I don't want climate change. Honey, are you still there?
Yes, I'm still here, but honey, I'm going to have to call you back. Kyle is being very difficult today. I'm not sure what to do.
I don't want dairy. Honey, the answer is right there in your hand.
You want me to hit him?
No, silly, your other hand.
Oh, give him the iPhone.
Yes.
Good idea, honey. Now I will have to call you back. Love, love, kiss, kiss, bye-bye.
I don't want to break
Kyle?
my back. I don't want to earn my way.
Do you want the iPhone?
I want the iPhone.
There you go, little guy.
And I want to search for comedy podcast. Yay!
Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the Comedy Podcast.
Yay.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're listening to the Comedy Podcast. Hey, what's up, guys?
As its human family keeps it safe and warm.
Happy 16th birthday, Kyle.
Thanks. Here's your present. Hope you like it. Thanks. Wow.
It's your 16th computer. Your mother and I felt that since you were 16 now, it was time for you to have one.
It's awesome. What are you going to do with it, Kyle? Hello, comedy podcast.
Podcast, microphone, stand-up, stage, gig,
Through trial and error,
Testing.
it soon will transform.
Hey, what's up, Clydes? Hey, shuts up, guys. Hey, what's flup? This is harder than it sounds. Okay. Hey, glutz flup tries. Hey, putz fup pride. Pay tay flay. How's it going, Kyle? I don't know, Mom. Why? Maybe I've got this whole thing backwards. Why? Maybe I should be doing the comedy first and then do the comedy podcast? You know what, Kyle? What? That sounds like a pretty good idea to me. I'll look up some open mics. Thanks, Mom. Oh, and make some flyers, too. Will do.
Itself into a creature designed to perform.
I just don't understand why girls are like that. But guys are like that too. Yeah. We're all like that. Anyway, that's my time. You guys have been great. I've been Kyle Cheston. Well, I still am Kyle Cheston, but you know what I mean? I'm not some cosmic substance that was reshaped into a comedian called Kyle Cheston. Like I've always been a comedian called, well, not always a comedian, but I've always been Kyle Cheston. I think I'm having a breakthrough.
You suck.
And I think I'm starting to wear out my welcome. So I'm going to go ahead and say good night. Oh, God. It was going so good, too.
Then late at night, feeling lost and forlorn.
What's wrong, Kyle?
Nothing, it's just... Sorry, I'm just not in the mood right now.
Look, you were great tonight. And there'll be more people next time.
Yeah.
Next time, I'll bring my parents. And my sister. And my dog. And my cat. And my best friend's girlfriend. And David. And Donnie. And Dino. And Dora. And Professor Milktooth.
I don't want to see Professor Milktooth. I'm so sorry. You know what? It's just... it's nothing, really.
Oh, is it the mother issues again?
Of course not.
I'm trying to be a good substitute.
And you are. I mean, you'll never replace her, but you come really, really close.
Thank you.
It's just, I don't know. You know, it's only been 10 years, and I've already done 2 open mics, and I feel like I need to take things to the next level, but I don't know how. I feel like I'm just kind of hanging around, and nobody's even watching. Kind of like Jeffrey Epstein, alone in his cell. It comes to the purpose for which it was born.
Listen, Kyle. I know you said it was too early before, but that was before. Now is now. And maybe now is the time now.
Now is the time for what now?
Time to, you know, finally finished the comedy podcast.
Finally finished the comedy podcast. That's it, of course. What a great idea. Finish the comedy podcast.
Baby.
That's it. That's
I'm
it.
so pleased you got this.
Thank you, baby. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And thank you guys for listening to the Comedy Podcast. I've been your host, Kyle Cheston.
You're going to do this now?
Of course, better late than early.
Whatever.
Where are you going? Anyway, if you love this episode, you're going to like the next one when I tell you all about my latest acting job. But if you just can't wait, here's a little teaser. Hot Homicide, Cold Corpses with Kyle Cheston. When it comes to the murder of Rick Shurdan, I'm just taking a guess, but I'm gonna say this guy Will Franken took comedy a little too seriously. There'll be more of those next time. And don't forget, if you want to support the comedy podcast, please go to patreon.com/Will Franken. That's a little creepy. Hey, don't look at me. I'm only the comedian. That's it, baby. I'm done. I finished the comedy podcast. Where'd you go? Hey.